Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level mathematics video, and today we're going to be talking about statistics. Now, statistics is a process of collecting and analyzing numerical data in large quantities to find facts. And some of the ways that we can use statistics in our everyday life might be calculating sales volumes, doing a household budget, maybe doing our taxes. So there are all different kinds of ways that we can use statistics in daily life. Another place where statistics come into play is in doing surveys. Most people have probably participated in at least one survey. Many companies today have customer service surveys. You're asked to rate your opinions on things. Giving ratings on Yelp or Amazon are a type of survey. And so the results of those surveys are how statistics can be used. Now, these next few slides are really designed for a class situation, so I'm going to skip these. It's just kind of showing the different types of information you could analyze using a survey. You might ask all your friends, what's your favorite sport? And then you could calculate some statistics based on their answers. Same thing with the number of hours that you sleep each night. You could ask a number of individuals how many hours do they sleep, and then we could calculate these different, the mean, median, mode, and range, which we'll talk about in a little more detail coming up. All right, number set. So in math class, you often need to calculate the mean, median, mode, and range of a set of numbers. So we're going to read the problem, then complete the explanation about how to solve it. You can calculate the mean, median, mode, and range of the following set of data and round the mean and median to the nearest tenth when necessary. So this is the number set. So take a few moments to see if you can figure out the answers to these questions. We'll fill in the gaps with one of the words from the boxes. And then you can pause the video while you do that and then restart, and I'll show the answers. All right, so to find the mean, first you add all the numbers together. Next, count. How many numbers there are in the set. Then divide the total of all the numbers by how many numbers are in the set. To find the mode, find the number that repeats the most times. To find the median, put the numbers in order from lowest to highest, then find the middle number. If there are two numbers in the middle, you can add them together and divide by 2. So those are the definitions of mean, median, and mode. Okay, so you're going to explain how to solve some math problems. And before you do, you want to match some vocabulary words to their definitions. So we have participation, beat, count for, grade, and school record. So again, pause the video, try those on their own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so letter A, to defeat or do better than in a game or other competition is to beat. The highest or best score gotten by a student at the school would be the school record. The act of sharing in the activities of a group is participation. Score in a class is a grade. And to be worth something or to matter is to count for. All right, so explain how to solve the following problems and use the words below to help you. the steps first, next, then, finally, and the vocabulary add, divide by, count, and put in order. So Mr. Jones teaches 5 classes. The number of students in each class is 31, 30, 32, 28, and 29. What is the average number of students in his classes? So take a few moments, try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so for number 1, you would say first, add all of the numbers of students together. Then, or next, count the number of classes then divide the total number of students by the number of classes. And then finally that would give you the average, right? Luis, so if we wanted to actually figure this out, you would add 31, 30, you would add these numbers together, then divide them by 5, because there are 5 classes, and that would give you the average. Then Luis joined a bowling league and wants to beat the school record of an average of 235 out of 300 possible points per game. Her scores for the first 5 games are 242, 228, 252, 210, 235, and 220. So to find the average again, you would add all these together and then divide by 5. And then to score in the, so you divide by 6. So this is the first 5 games, but this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it should be 6 games. There's a mistake there. So you'd add all these together, divide by 6, and that would give you the average score. And then you would figure out how much you would need to increase the average to 235. All right, explain how you would solve the following problems. Again, you would use the words below to help you. It says Martina got the following scores on her English tests. What is the average of her score and what is the median? So to find the average, first you would add all of these scores together. Then you would count the number of scores, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You would divide that total by 8, and that would be the average. The median, you would put all the numbers in order from lowest to highest, and then find the middle number. And then given the plot line, what is the mode? Well, the mode is you figure out the number that appears the most often. So when you put these numbers in order, the one in position 3 is the one that occurs the most often, so that would be the mode. All right, reporting percentages. So there are many different ways to report data from a survey. Pretend that I surveyed all 100 students in 12th grade and 20 of them have taken a coding course. I can say 20 out of 100 students in 12th grade know how to code, or I can simplify and say 1 out of 5 students in 12th grade knows how to code. I can write 1:5 and say 1 in 5 students knows how to code, Or I could also say this as a percentage: 20% of 12th grade students know how to code. So take a look at these questions below. See if you can figure out the answers to each of these questions, or how to express them as percentages. You can pause the video, try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check the answers. All right, so here we could say 45 out of 100 students are boys, 45% of the students are boys, 55 out of 100 students are girls, or 55% of students are girls. There's also a ratio of 45 boys to 50 girls, which can be simplified to 9 out of 11, or 9 in 11. So number 2, there are 18 players on my soccer team. 9 players scored at least one goal last season. So 9 out of 18 players scored at least one goal, and that can be simplified to 1/2. You could say 1 in 2 players scored a goal, or 50% of the players scored a goal. There are 195 countries in the world. English is the official language of 67 countries. So we could say English is the official language of 65 out of 195 countries. 60 million out of 332 million people living in the United States speak English, or living in, sorry, English is the official language in 67 out of the 195 countries. Or you could divide 67 by 195 and have a percentage. And then number 4, there are 332 million people living in the US. 60 million of them don't speak English as a first language. So we could express that either as a percentage, or we could say approximately 1 in 6 people living in the US don't speak English as a first language. All right, so now complete the text about statistics using the words from the boxes below. Again, you can pause the video, try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check the answers. All right, so statistics is the process of collecting and analyzing numerical data in large quantities to find facts. It is usual to study, in statistics, it is usual to study a population or a collection of people, things, or objects. To study the population, we select a sample. The idea of sampling is to select a portion or a small group within the larger population to study it to gain information about the population. A variable is a characteristic that can be measured. A statistic is a number that represents a property of the sample, and statistics are often represented as percentages. All right, so let's review fractions and percentages. So how can you say 1/2? You could either say 1 out of 2 or 50%. How could you say 2/3? Would be 2 out of 3 or 0.66%. 1/4 could be 1 out of 4 or 25%. And how can you say the following numbers? 1/5, 3/4, or 3/2? All right, now we're going to talk about almost and nearly. We can use adverbs in front of numbers to report statistics. Almost and nearly are adverbs that mean not quite or not completely, 90 to 95% complete. For example, instead of saying 49.3% of students walk to school, we can say almost 50% of students walk to school, or nearly half of all students walk to school. We often use almost in front of the verb in the past tense. So I didn't miss the bus, but I had to run. I almost missed the bus this morning. So you wouldn't say, I missed the bus this morning, almost. The almost would come before the past tense verb. It can also appear before the adjective. She was almost late for class, or I have been writing the paper for nearly 3 hours. So almost all, always, and never. We can use adverbs in front of numbers to report statistics. When we use almost with a noun, we usually use the word all. Almost all my friends have pets. We use almost always and almost never as a frequency adverb. Almost always means close to 100%, and almost never means close to 0%. I almost always walk to school. 95% of the time I walk, 5% of the time I drive. I almost never forget to do my homework. 95% of the time I do my homework. And so you can make some sentences to answer these questions. What do you almost never do? And what do you almost always do? So almost all, always, and never. So practice making some sentences with almost. Use almost all, almost always, and almost never whenever possible. You can pause the video and try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, 24.4% of students voted for Franco for class president. So for that, we could say 24.4 would be almost 25%. So almost 25% of students voted for Franco for class president. I have attended 98% of my classes this year, so I have attended almost all of my classes. %32 of students voted to continue remote schooling. So we could say almost 1/3 of all students voted to continue remote schooling. 74.4% of students buy the school lunch every day. So almost 75% of all students buy the school lunch every day. 48.9% of students participate in an after-school club or sport. So almost 50% of all students participate. Carlos has played soccer for 4 years, but he has only scored 1 goal. So Carlos almost never scores a goal in soccer. Francisca received a perfect score on all her math tests except one. So Francisca almost always receives a perfect score. And number 8, she was late for school one time in 10 years. So she was almost never late for school. Right, rounding numbers. So when describing numbers, we can also use the expressions just under, just over, or around. Around means approximately, plus or minus 10%. Most classes at school have around 25 students. So this means not exactly, and sometimes we can use about to have the same meaning. Just over means a little bit more than a number, and just under means a very little bit less than a number. So Daniel ran a mile in just under 6 minutes. So he would have run the mile in 5 minutes 59 seconds. Danica ran a mile in just over 6 minutes, so she would have run the mile in 6 minutes and 3 seconds. So now create some sentences using around, just under, just over, using these numbers, and you can apply it to anything that you want. So just write some sentences for practice. All right, so now match the phrase with the number that it describes. So a small fraction, a small minority, a significant majority, a small number, around 2/3, approximately a third, just over a quarter, almost 10%, nearly a fifth, and slightly more than half. So again, you can pause the video, try those on your own, and then restart when you're ready to see the answers. All right, so a small fraction would be 1/20th. A small minority could be 8%. A significant majority, 85%. A small number, 3. And around 2/3 would be 0.65%. Approximately a third would be 0.325. Just over a quarter, 25.4%. Almost 10% would be 9.5%. Nearly a fifth would be 0.19. And slightly more than half would be 0.55. All right, so now you could try this on your own to do your own survey. Maybe survey a group of your friends and go through go through the steps. Some of the possible topics might be, what's your favorite food, school subjects, hobbies, birthdays, books, movies, traditions, whatever you'd like, and then choose a sample size, maybe of at least 5 to 10 people, and then calculate the different percentages. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, and if you have any questions, please leave those for me in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.